Jim, welcome to Me Knowledge Post-Debate Edition. Why does your phone always go like whenever you go live? If you go to any of the best case scenarios, every time, just look at.
I was gonna remind him to cut his phone off right now too.
Every episode, look at every episode. As soon as we go at you hear that at the beginning of every episode, like it's our theme.
Cut the sound off.
Like
that part.
Right.
Let's go.
All right. So we're here. It's Me Knowledge. This is the post-debate edition, and I'm going to go ahead and kick it off by saying it was a shit show. I hated it. I hated it.
Why?
Because first of all, I hate debates the way that they are right now.
American debates.
The American nomination debate, presidential debates, what have you. I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the fact that there's crowds there. I hate the fact that you're giving someone you're asking them a question in which they've got to go on a motherfucking deep dive, and you're giving them 1 minute and 30 seconds to respond. Mm-hmm. I hate the fact that if you personally say anybody's name, they go directly to them and give them 45 seconds to respond. Mm-hmm. I hate the fact that it's so much posturing and cheap shots and people trying to take certain moments, because that really, I hate that shit actually has an effect on the polls. Mm-hmm. And I hate that they package it in this fucking made-for-TV type of drama shit and then shovel this shit directly into your mouth. I hate it.
But I guess my question is more like, why did you hate this one? Because we both don't give a fuck about the debates as far as like, we know that it's not really set up for you to like really learn anything new, right? Like whatever. But so what made you not like this one in particular?
This reminded me of pro wrestling kayfabe type shit.
Why? What?
Yeah. like you know what I mean? Like
that's a horrible analogy.
The questions were terribly, especially I think on healthcare. They won't allow people to genuinely evaluate the candidates on healthcare with the way that they stage and frame the questions.
Yeah,
that shit is disgusting. And this is the third debate in a row where they frame these questions from a right wing point of view in order to elicit certain types of answers out of people that are false.
Yeah, but I think the thing that is really annoying is when or how the moderators don't hold the candidates accountable.
I was just gonna say, like,
when they're saying stupid shit, it's like they don't stop them and say that's not true. In the last, you know what I'm saying? Like 120 million people are going to be kicked off of their thing. That's not true. This is going to be replaced. So they're not being kicked off. It's going to be it's not even going to be taken away. It's just going to be replaced. So it's never going to be a gap, right? But they keep letting them spew that shit. But like you said, they ask the question in such a way so that they can say that. Like they set it up for them, I understand.
And then they go directly to someone else. Did you hear what she just said? Mm-hmm. What is your response to that?
Yeah. Like, it's the same fucking response that I've said 10 times.
This is a lie. But the thing also is because the candidates are all from the same party. Mm-hmm. So ultimately they know that one of them is going to be the nominee. Mm-hmm. But they're going to all be working together.
Right.
And they don't want to they're all on this, not trying to disparage each other's here, which is fine, because I don't think the people really want to see too much mudslinging as it is. It detracts.
Well, not amongst the people that are working with each other, at least.
Well, it detracts. Like you've seen campaigns where people just start posting ads and just smearing each other, tearing each other down, and made it about that. I think that they're trying to get away from making it about that. They're trying to hold each other's feet to the fire because they understand that it does. But ultimately, they know they have to work together as one party to defeat Trump at the end of this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to come right out. Of course, we're not. Okay, dude, Amy Klobuchar said 146 million people are going to lose their health care and lied about Medicare for all. They went to Elizabeth Warren. Elizabeth Warren didn't just look at her and say, "You're a fucking liar," because they've all agreed not to do that.
Well, shit, but that's what I'm saying though. You don't have to levy the ad hominem attacks towards your opponents. At that point, she could have just said, that's not accurate. And that would have been good enough. That's not accurate. Why? And then ask her, why did you keep repeating that? You're smart. I know you know what's really going to happen, right? You know what I mean? Like, you could do that. You don't have to, like, you know what I mean? And like, I'm not for mudslinging per se, right? Like, I'm not for WWE style debates, right? But in all honesty, to a certain extent, I would prefer that over this sterile, homogenized, or sorry, not homogenized, pasteurized version of the debate.
Well,
the
thing is though, they don't know how to do that either. Because once it started doing that, like case in point, once Julio Castro in the beginning of the debate started to get on Joe Biden, everything started to break down. And then everybody started trying to jump in. And it got really convoluted at that point. When everybody tried to get a moment off Bernie. They knew the healthcare was gonna come off top because it is still one of the most important issues in America right now, as far as what's important to the voters. So they always start off with the healthcare debate, okay? And plus, the ABC has to let their advertisers know that they're going to be, what I mean, beating people up over this over Medicare for all. But once it started, as soon as it starts, anytime someone comes at someone directly, the shit just starts getting really fucked up, and then somebody will come out try like, "Hey, I'm the voice of reason." They don't want to see us fighting, and somebody always has to come out with that bullshit too. And so they don't know how to do it that way. We have to have a debate. We have to have a debate on issues. Joe Biden came out swinging off top. Said no because let me tell you what happened. Joe Biden came out swinging off top. Because the way the frame of the question, I see you guys up there, right? You're in between two candidates. You're in between two candidates that feel very differently about healthcare than you do.
Yeah, but what did he say? But what did he say?
What do you have to say about healthcare? Yeah. He rolls out a bit of his healthcare plan, and he says, the senator to my right, she doesn't ever talk about how she's going to pay for it. The senator to my left. He says he's very candid about how he's going to pay for it, but his numbers are wrong. It's going to cost 36. You know what I mean? He started rolling out a lot of the fake. The fake talking points. And for a bunch of Democrats, they sure do use a lot of right-wing talking points when it comes to healthcare.
It's not. See, that's the thing, though. I mean, that's what we have to get away from. Is we have to separate the fact that there is no such thing as a left and a right. In America right now, as far as the parties are concerned. Both parties are corporatist parties. Both of them. Neither party is on the side of the people. So when you hear them speak, I expect them to say stuff that's going to represent the status quo, that's going to represent the corporations, the big money donors, you know what I'm saying? Special interest groups or whatever. Like, I don't expect them to get up there, and I don't expect Joe Biden to get up there and tell the truth about anything. Just to be honest with you, I don't. And he doesn't for the most part. And the only person up there that consistently tells the truth are Andrew Yang and Bernie Sanders. And the reason why Andrew Yang can tell the truth is because Andrew Yang isn't in politics.
Right.
But if Andrew Yang had been in politics, he wouldn't be able to tell the truth either. He would have a lot of dirt on him too.
And I think Andrew Yang is smart. Because Andrew Yang, everything he's doing, he always talks about the math, he always talks about statistics, and he uses those things to, almost like create a political algorithm that he doesn't understand that there have been other candidates that kind of relied on the statistics and things that, like the eye test of those types of things, the numbers, the papers, that leads to a lot of racism. But but if he really was good at the math, he'd realize that he's not going to win. So I think he's just running to push UBI. Look at the first about 4 or 5 primaries, which are closer than you think. I mean, it's middle of September right now. First primaries come up in February. Unless you make some serious gains in the polls. A lot of people are going to be. There are a lot of people that are up on that stage right now that should be ending their campaign soon.
Right. So since we're on that point, and who do you think? Who do you think should be starting to tighten it up? Like,
I think that the first person that should start to tighten it up are people that will do great in their current job, in a Bernie administration.
Okay.
Kamala Harris, number one. Kamala Harris, pack it up, go back to Washington, and start fighting for some of the things that you're talking about. You don't have to be president to do some of the things that you're talking about.
And she has no real agenda. She doesn't really want to change anything. So
Right.
I don't see, hers is just political aspirations to, she just wants to get the moniker or whatever, the title. Like,
Right.
I was president.
If I'm elected president, then doesn't make any sense
If you ain't
because
doing it
you're
right
a
now.
senator right now, and if you're not introducing legislation. One of the greatest things I liked about Kamala Harris is when she came out with her immigration reform and said she was going to do this as executive orders. Okay, well, you're not going to be able to do it as executive orders. So how about this? Go back to Washington, introduce some legislation about a pathway to citizenship for these people that other
Start the
Democrats
groundwork
can be
now,
Start
yeah.
the groundwork. Because this is what I do believe. I do believe Julian Castro was right when he said that in 2020 we're going to be dealing with a Democratic president.
I don't believe that.
I think that Trump can be defeated. You know what I mean?
Oh, I think I know he could be defeated, but I'm saying.
I believe he will be.
I'm sorry. I believe that, but I don't believe it in this regard. Not any blue will do, not just any blue will do. So when Castro said that shit, fucking Julian, whatever fucking name. When he said that, I took that as like he was just saying like any Democrat that runs against Trump is gonna win because we don't really know right now. And I was like, nah, man, Elizabeth Warren's not beating him. Fucking Biden's definitely not beating him.
Can you imagine him try? Can you imagine Klobuchar trying to go up against him?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Amy Klobuchar has no shot.
Oh,
Cory
that'd be laughing.
Booker, I don't know, doubt it. But you know what I mean? Like, so really, yeah. So yeah, of course, because
Kamala is not beating him.
No.
Yeah.
And I think the only Democrat that can beat, I think Bernie Sanders is the guy.
That's it.
That's it.
I mean, I think Cory Booker gives him a fair run for his money.
But we don't want a fair run. We want to win.
You want to win, yeah.
Yeah. If we talk about wins and losses, is Bernie or bust. Anybody else is a coin flip or probably gonna lose, right? Like so.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, I'm like,
But Bernie beats Trump in 29 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
At this point.
yeah, I'm sure that that's the case for Biden. I'm sure that's the case, and that's why I don't like put too much stock in the polls.
And I think that people underestimate Bernie Sanders' toughness, and I think that will be on full display against Donald Trump.
I wanted to kind of. I saw this. This is funny to me. So I saw this.
That's your question, Love Life. Yeah, he's still heavily pushing getting rid of student college loans. Heavily pushing that.
100%.
And he's doing it the right way. He's doing it. He's just gonna wipe them.
He has a
all
plan
clean.
for it.
Yeah, he's gonna wipe them all clean. He's not gonna do some fucking tier. If you make $100,000, you don't get any. If you make under 100, you get up to 50,000.
No, it's just clear wipe off the board.
Gotta wipe off. And he's pushing for medical bills to be cleared as well. Like you shouldn't be in debt. Same way you shouldn't be in debt for college. You shouldn't be in debt because you got sick. Actually, it makes more sense that you shouldn't be in debt if you got sick than college. Because I was gonna say you didn't sign up to be sick. You know what I'm saying?
And the fact that what he brought up, and the Washington Post actually gave him 3 Pinocchios for this, that 500,000 people that are declaring bankruptcy are doing so because of medical bills is a major contributing factor.
No, they said it was 540,000.
Right.
It was more.
So Washington Post gave him 3 Pinocchios and said that he lied by saying that. But he was going by the same study that Washington Post had posted months before about it with the same statistic in it. So, and the person that actually wrote that, did that research, actually confirmed again that is actually true.
Yeah. So Bernie.
The Washington Post is lost in that.
Yeah, we know they're fucking disgusting. So Bernie has a. So I want to talk about this exchange while we're talking about healthcare for all. So Bernie and Amy Klobuchar have this exchange where Amy Klobuchar is basically like Bernie is explaining his plan because Biden is just blowing fucking hot smoke and Amy Klobuchar is blowing hot smoke, talking about it's going to take people off Medicare and all these things, right? So Bernie lays out his plan. Everybody knows it's not going to take anybody off. It's gonna, everybody. It's comprehensive. It's going to cover everybody, right? Her response to Bernie was, Bernie said, I wrote the damn bill, if I may. And then he goes on to elaborate and whatever. And then her response to that was, well, Bernie, while Bernie wrote the bill, I read the bill. And then she proceeded to basically lie, or not lie. She was misleading people. She was saying that 140, 100, yeah, actually is a lie. It's gonna, well, no, because she got specific. She literally said it. She was like, it's gonna take them off of private insurance. She was making sure that she added that caveat, and then Biden jumped in and was like, yeah, like she said, it's gonna take 146 million people, kick 146 million people off their insurance. And she said off their private. She made sure to reiterate it, like, I ain't getting it, whatever Biden, I'm out with that. I'm saying specifically private insurance, right? Yeah. So my response to that was, I said, she read the damn bill, yes. Then she proceeded to try to mislead the public by acting like the bill would leave 140 million people off health care. So yeah, this headline is trash. This headline was posted by CNN, by the way. So they just pick and choose little shit. They want to highlight certain people. They didn't want to talk about Bernie's response, which was the actual real response to that, which was like, it's not going to kick off 146 people. It's comprehensive. Everybody's going to be covered. They just want, like, they tried to make this like a moment. Right. And I'm sure her people wrote this line. Like I feel like they had like a staff. Like, I feel like all of the candidates had like a staff of like fucking failed TV writers from like 30 Rock, and people try to be on like writers try to be on like 30 Rock and Saturday Night Live, and
or Simone Sanders.
But that's what she does.
That's one of the things
Simone Sanders is.
She writes one-liners, zingers for people.
She writes zingers for Joe
Biden. Now she does. It used to be Bernie. Bernie was like, I could do it myself. She wasn't no more.
But I look, just for you guys out there, whoever's watching, if you or someone you know is in favor of keeping the private insurance industry intact and cares what happens to these guys that actually make billions of dollars off of people getting ill, let me know, because every time I hear about someone wanting to salvage the private healthcare industry, it's always a politician.
Yeah, no, it's not always. I've heard middle class. I've heard like basically like upper.
Let's bring them on the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can't. I just heard like upper like. I actually talked to a doctor. He was retired or just retired, one of the two. But he's a doctor, and he was like, "Yeah, that healthcare for all is not going to work, and it's terrible." And I was just talking to a dude yesterday, I believe, or the day before yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. He was like, healthcare for all wouldn't work. He was like, yeah. What about the wait times in Canada? They just, I mean, man, yeah.
Well, we got urgent cares nowadays everywhere. So if you're trying, if that person was trying to put it on the fact that you have more people trying to get more healthcare.
Yeah, to see especially.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You talk about,
but okay. So I could see. Okay, so here's the truth of the matter. There are longer wait. There is a long wait time for certain things because, for an example, since you can get a surgery like back surgery, right? Like hip surgery or some shit like that, right? It may take a little longer because that's not a life-threatening thing.
That's what I was about to say.
You see what I'm saying? So if there's a gang, not everybody can afford it. Everybody can get it, right? My back hurt, your back hurt, your back hurt. And it's like, yeah, I'll get the surgery. It's elective. It's basically an elective surgery. They tell you at 45, sometimes like, hey, you should get back surgery now while you can recover from it. You should get hip surgery now while you can recover from it. And a lot of people in America would do that surgery if they could afford it, but they can't, right? But in Canada and these other countries, they can, so that creates a higher wait time because now you just have a longer line. That's fine. But if you're dying, there's no fucking wait. There's no waits. If you need an emergency surgery, then I'm like, oh man, we got it's too many people. Like, no, you're fine. They have better health outcomes. They have better outcomes with their healthcare system. So that's never going to come into question. That's not an issue. You don't have to worry about that with healthcare for all. There'll be enough doctors. There'll be enough nurses. Like, you don't have to worry about that. We're in America. We're still the richest country,
right?
You know what I'm saying, in the world. So
we're the most immigrated country too, as well. Most of the talent wants to come here to live the American dream. So
yeah.
It's not like we have a shortage of people to deliver the health care. That's for sure.
Now, if Medicare for all gets enacted, that will definitely affect doctors. That'll definitely affect doctors. You know what I'm saying? So pay. I'm sorry, they're not going to be making as much money.
Is there any way that you can put that on the screen?
No.
Okay. This is a beautiful way of putting it.
But read it.
This is a tweet from Jim Keaton. Okay, it says, "I'm in the middle class. I pay $9,836.52 a year for my private health care plan. Under Bernie Sanders' Medicare for All plan, I will instead pay 4% of my gross income, or $3,906.88 a year. I will save $5,929.64. The middle class will save money with Medicare for All. Joe Biden is lying." And that was what they're
And Amy Klobuchar was like,
right. And Amy Klobuchar. As far as kicking people off of their insurance, yeah, you'd be kicking them off their insurance.
private insurance.
Their private insurance, and giving them better insurance for no copays, no premiums. Okay, yes, your taxes will go up, but your taxes will not go up to the proportion that you're paying for your premiums and your copays and your prescription.
100%. And so that language that they use is really dumb, and it's basically like it's like saying, if you have $1 and you want to buy something from me, and I take your $1 and give you my services right back, right? They would explain that process like this: he's stealing your $1. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like, no, I mean, I'm taking your $1 and I'm going to give you whatever goods you're paying me the $1 for, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, but the way she's saying is like, they're going to take away your private insurance, and then it's like, no. They're just replacing it. Like,
Right.
like what you're talking about.
You're not losing anything.
You're not losing anything.
You're getting more than you had before.
Because insurance is actually designed to deny coverage to people. That's how they make money.
Their job when they switch insurance companies, they don't take away. You know what I mean? Like they just get rid of Blue Cross, and now you got Aetna. You know what I'm saying? Like,
You don't say that they're kicking me off.
They don't send you a letter that says you no longer get Kaiser.
And just think about it like this: some of you guys are business-minded people. So let me talk to you, talk business with you, okay? Now, if I have a widget, right, and I produce 10 of those widgets, and I sell them at a certain price, if I produce 10,000 widgets, I can sell them at a lower price.
Absolutely.
If I can produce 10 million, I can sell that at an even lower price and still make more profit, right?
Right.
The same thing with Medicare for All, okay? And the reason Medicare for All works in lowering healthcare costs is because everybody's going to be
sharing in the
together.
pot. Yeah.
It's going to be, and then together, we're going to have a tremendous amount of power when we're talking about negotiating with prescription companies.
Yeah.
We're talking about, and we're talking about the cost of healthcare and things of that nature with these healthcare providers.
Because
The cost is actually going to go down.
as I'll say next is like, because now with Medicare for All, you're able to wrangle these pharma companies, big pharmas, and tell them like, look, hey, we're not playing with a private insurance company that's trying to help you make more money on the next step of healthcare.
Right.
Because we all know getting the treatment from a doctor is just one aspect.
Right.
And when you walk out of the hospital, every doctor has a prescription pad, and we all know that that's what big pharma wants you to do. So again, if you have Medicare for All, now you're taking away. I won't even say taking away, but you're loosening the ability for doctors to be manipulated to gouge people for money for big pharma, if that makes sense.
Or they just won't push certain drugs.
Well, they'll push the fair drug. It'll be more about pushing what's fair instead of what's equitable.
It's not
pushing
doctors,
drugs.
and it's not doctors doing it, guys.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is,
He's just saying
you know, like
they enable the
if AstraZeneca walks into a doctor's office and they say, "Hey, we're going to give you a kickback if you sell 10,000 pills,"
they're pushing the drugs.
They're pushing those drugs. It's just the way they do it. But if Medicare for All is like, look, you're going to get paid no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Now AstraZeneca can't walk in there and put a gun to a doctor's head.
AstraZeneca's prices, they're not going to be charging you an arm and a leg for their medicine.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
because
Like,
built into the cost of the medicine is the marketing and promotion that they
That's
do
what I'm saying.
for it. So, and it would also cap the amount that a person would need to pay throughout a year. So no matter
$200
what,
a year.
$200 a year would be the cap on your insurance. So on your prescription. So some people pay $10,000 a month for 4 chemotherapy pills.
Crazy.
Okay, so these $10,000 a month, that's doing
$200
$200 for the year, and we'll get these people the life-saving chemotherapy that they need. And, you know what I mean? Insulin.
It kills
which
people.
They make for $8 a vial, but they sell at literally $360 a vial.
Well, thank you for somebody the fact that it's
right. Insulin cap $200 a year. So now life-saving insulin.
it curtails people like
Right.
what's his name, Martin Shkreli was his name, from changing a pill from $8 to $750. That's bullshit.
And it will just cost us as the American taxpayers less money too.
And a lot of prescriptions are gonna go up to $200.
You want some penicillin? Are you burning? $200.
The first thing I did this year was go get a prescription for ibuprofen.
Right.
And then the rest, everything else, they was free.
It's up to $200 though. It's not like you don't even. For some people, for most people, I don't think you're gonna have to pay anything. It's just like I bet you it's based on your income. So certain people, if you make a certain amount of, you know what I'm saying? Like they might gotta pay a little bit if it goes over.
Well, $200 in a year is far less than $1 a day, and even if you're below the poverty level at this point, you can afford that.
$200.
Yeah,
Over
$1
the
a
course
day,
of a year.
$360 a year. So
Right.
double the price. So yeah, that's crazy. And I think the conversation needs to change, because the thing that's crazy is the fact that I feel like people still need to be convinced that Medicare for all will benefit them.
That's crazy.
That's really like a. It just shows me how how strong the media is, and also shows me the lack of education that the vast majority of Americans have. Because we can say common sense all day. It's common sense. It's common. What did R. Kelly do? Use your mind. That don't even it's like to me, to you, it's common sense, right? But everybody don't have the same common sense. That's why we got.
Well, the Pavlovian dog response is like, you hear the word health insurance, you expect to have to pay for it. That's what we've been conditioned in America to think.
That's right.
You work and you need to get a job that's going to pay you benefits.
Yeah.
You're conditioned. Well, the general masses
to think you don't deserve it.
That part. That's really unless you're doing something. Oh, wait a minute. You work for yourself. You don't deserve the same health care I do when I work 40, 50 hours a week. That's what we've been conditioned to think. Or you should pay more money because you don't work.
You make more money. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's just weird.
And then they're going so far as to bring up false narratives, like how union workers feel about their negotiations. Again, another argument that I only hear from politicians.
Yeah.
Because
I know people in the unions. None of them have ever said that.
We fought hard and we picketed and we.
You guys are going to replace it, maybe better insurance, but we fought. Who gives a fuck? Like, I don't care.
They're not.
You got they took 75 cents off at the last negotiation for your insurance. Good job, guys, for that whole strike for 8 weeks.
But even if I'm saying, like, even if you fought hard and got way better insurance, but then I come along and say, I know you guys fought hard because you had to do that at the time, but look, I'm giving you better insurance than you fought for, than you even thought about. It's going to cost you way less money. You think they're going to be like, but we fought for it. What the fuck? They're like emotionally attached to that shit. Like, nobody gives a fuck.
No one gives a
fuck.
fuck.
That way because if you're going to take down Sanders, you've got to attack the union.
Oh, yeah, because the unions love Sanders.
Because the unions love Sanders. And the people that work in the unions and understand workers' rights and understand what this man means, if he's in office, what this means for workers' rights, those people love Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
The working class people love Bernie. Votes amongst the working class, Bernie Sanders is the most popular politician easily. He defeats anybody
that you want to talk to about
working class.
Yeah.
So
nurses,
you have to scare the working class.
Teachers.
Right. Walmart workers. Starbucks workers.
Amazon workers.
You know why? And Amazon and Walmart workers, the reason why they matter to me the most because they're like the most fucked workers.
In
they love
the
so
world.
I go to the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, I saw at the bottom. I'm like, if the bottom people like you, you're dope.
You're getting it.
You're
Amazon
dope.
and Walmart are the two largest employers in the United States.
True.
No, besides the American government.
Besides the government.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
I mean, the American government's like, as soon as that shutdown happened, people were like, "Oh, we would fuck with Bernie Sanders." That was one of the things that I did like from the government.
I remember people saying that when that happened.
There was a lot of the people because I worked where we worked. You know what I'm saying? We worked right above TSA.
Oh yeah.
And trust me, they was livid. Like,
Oh, for real?
he
Yeah.
fucking with our money.
That's
This
crazy.
is why I would have loved it.
Say
Oh, they were hot.
Too, yeah.
Hot. Like, I'm not going to fucking work. Like that. I heard that more than once. Like, where you going? I'm not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
shut on your uniform, yeah, but I ain't going to fucking work. I'm not getting paid for it.
Yeah. Then they was firing people that wasn't going
And
to
they were,
work too.
so you know what I mean? Like they was like,
hey, what the fuck?
I mean, there was literally people that I talked to on basis of like, yo, fuck Trump. We should have voted for. I mean, at first it was we should have voted for Hillary because she was the one that won the nomination. But then of course I was like, what about Bernie? Well, it would anybody would have been better.
He disappointed a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
And the thing is too, also,
Not his base.
you know what's so crazy? Okay, a poll came out today. Trump, his approval rating is at 36%.
Yes, it is.
That's countrywide though. Not
Right, but amongst black people, Trump's approval rating is 3%.
oh damn,
But let it be
we getting it. Hey, that's the best news I heard in a long time concerning black people. Because last time,
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of y'all. Shout out, hey, because last time it was like 7%. I was like, what the fuck? No, it was 10%. I remember being like 10% of black
13% of
people.
them voted for it.
Yeah.
I couldn't fucking believe it. I was like,
I mean, he
what the
has
fuck you guys
literally
doing?
said, and I quote, I have done the most for black people than any other president that has ever been elected in the United
Yeah, we know.
States. And they call me all the time to tell
He
me.
doesn't have a racist bone in his body.
The least racist person on earth.
Tyrone wanted me to tell you, hey, what's up, you liberals?
I'm not liberal, brother.
I'm
I'm progressive. I don't fuck with them libtards. The niggas is wild as fuck.
If you know what I mean? If you still talking Russia again, I'm not fucking.
Yeah. Amongst other things, but that, if you still saying shit like, yeah, I just really appreciate Obama going out there and giving us the Affordable Health Care Act. And,
Like all those people basically had to say.
You doing that type of shit? Yeah.
If you're still, if Tulsi's an Assad apologist, I'm not fucking.
Yeah.
And
if you telling me that Venezuela's elections are rigged, but you're not saying shit about American elections, then I gotta be like, what the fuck? Like, what are we talking about here, man?
Control Alt Delete on your ass.
What I don't get is this. Everybody want to talk shit about, like, you know, Russia. They trying to go Russia in the election. Y'all are into rigged elections because I remember when they when the Republicans rigged the election and Al Gore lost the presidency.
Oh, you talking about the hanging chads, the hanging brads, or was it hanging chads or hanging brads? I can't remember which one it was.
Whatever they called it, just throwing. I called it election. I called it voter suppression, throwing out votes from people in Florida.
Oh yeah,
black people, in order to give that state over.
Throwing out votes. How about they didn't even let people vote? How about that? There was districts
every time. That's what they do.
Yeah, there was districts in Florida where they didn't even let them in the city.
But the reason why.
Talk about that anymore.
No, but the reason why Democrats won't even touch that shit is because Democrats do the same thing in the primaries.
Yeah.
So they don't even want to touch like gerrymandering and like any of those types of laws. Like, no.
you know what I mean? Because
you got hella dead people voting in the South. That's what you need to know.
Look, in Florida, for every Jeb Bush, there's a Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
There you go.
For sure.
Oh,
Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Somebody's primarying Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and she's dope.
Well, Tim Canola was the dopest, and that fool got cheated. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
but they're gonna find a way.
This lady, she's I forgot her name, but she's a pro bono lawyer for post conviction, like getting people's records funds, getting people just getting help get them jobs, stuff like that.
Nice.
That's what she does out in there, and she's
very progressive.
And she hates. You can tell she really hates.
Like everybody does. All right, so I want to get to something that was really, really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
First let's start off. So a question was asked. They brought up a poll that they asked black people what was the biggest worry to black people. What do black people feel like the biggest threat is or their biggest concern, right? And black people said racism. I laughed because I was like, what the fuck? How do you combat? Like, I'm saying, like, with the pop, like, okay. I don't know how they, I needed to read that, see how they posed that question. You see what I'm saying? Because I don't understand how that could be like, how could that come out of your mouth if somebody asks you, what do you think the greatest problem is in America? And you tell me racism. There is no way to combat racism.
No,
You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. Not directly. Like, there is no direct way. No, I'm sorry. That's a lot. Well, you can combat racism with education, right? So fine. Then you have to ask, well, how do you get the education implemented? Now you're talking policy.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like, so even if we're talking fighting racism, it has to start with a policy. And to hear that was Black people's number one concern was jarring, to say that. Like, I didn't laugh because I thought it was funny. I laughed because I was like, it was like a nerd. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is where we at right now, where niggas is out here talking about racism is your biggest concern? Like, not healthcare for all, not the things that actually will help you overcome racism and tear down the systemic racism, but racism. So what are we talking like racist rhetoric?
The results is of capitalist America. The results of the policies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you got to understand, there's two schools of thought on this.
Okay.
Number one is that the policies against Black people came out of racism, which I don't necessarily believe, because even people that were not racist went along with the policy.
Right.
The policy came out of greed.
Yeah.
They wanted money,
Power.
and they know that by limiting your opportunity,
They will get
it's
more
almost
money,
like, I'm not
more
racist.
power.
I can give a fuck what happens to Black people. I'm not racist. I don't give a fuck.
Well, it's just like a part.
I don't give a fuck though. When I was approached by the people to endorse this policy, I knew it would help me and my kids gain money and power. So
It's a pie chart.
what we have to do is fuck some people over that I don't care about.
Yeah.
Easy money.
Like, somebody was gonna get fucked, and because that is how capitalism is set up. So somebody's gonna get fucked over. I would rather it not be the people who look like me or who are
Yeah, it's a board. If you're looking at a bar graph
it might be me. If it's the people that look and act like me or in my socioeconomic circle, it will affect me at some point in time.
Well, if you look at a bar graph on a wall, I mean, we always say there's 100%, 100%. You know what I mean? And if you're looking at like 30%, somebody in that 30% range has got to suffer. I mean, you're gonna go with the smallest group that has less defense. Then in America, that just happens to be Black people.
Or anybody but you.
True.
Because there wasn't a lot of Black people in on those decisions.
No, none.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And
They had no voice in the room when they were making up the policies. That's what I'm saying.
Now we have more Black people in government than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
But these Black people are approached by these entities in a way that is.
Well, Black people get approached with green.
No,
And that's it.
it's that you can be one of them.
That's what I'm saying.
Or you can be one of us.
Black people get approached with a bag full of green,
And that's great.
and that changes everything. That changes the whole dynamic for them.
The watchdog is taken out of the picture.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary. Now, the results of it is you look at it and say, that's racist.
Mm-hmm.
So now you want the racism, which is the actual oppression and the feeling.
Yeah.
The feeling and the result that you see is the oppression. You see it based upon race, right? So now you say that's racism. But in all actuality, if you're not ready to attack greed and you're not attacking racism, and if you're not ready to attack capitalism,
I was about to
you're
say the
not
same
ready
thing.
to attack
If you're not ready to address
and that was
elitism,
the difference in
you
this
can't.
debate
Yes.
between Bernie Sanders
Mm-hmm.
and people that were saying a lot of good things.
Right.
Because the people that were saying good things, they had good ideas within the framework that is already racist. We can't just tweet. You can't just make tweets and turns to the wheel.
Yeah.
That's what I meant to say.
Bernie
Todd.
Sanders
Classic.
was
Right.
attacking
Right.
It was about standing up to and attacking the actual pillars and bringing them down.
Yeah.
That's how you.
Who else? There was
eliminate
somebody else that
the
said that too.
greed
There was somebody else that
and
brought that up too. I think it was somebody else that said that in the debate tonight too. I'm trying to remember. Was it Cory Booker?
Cory Booker danced around it
Right.
because ultimately he's a capitalist.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? He wants capital cost. So his donors would not be happy with him attacking the status quo.
Mm-hmm.
You can tweet certain things because again, those people that own that, they're not necessarily racist. They don't give a fuck what happens to Black people.
Right.
They're not racist. They don't give a fuck. They're greedy.
I mean, if you're indifferent to a certain people and you don't care, what happens to them, and that's racism too. But it's passive racism,
Right.
right? There's active racism and there's passive racism.
Right.
And
But there's people that wear their clan robes out in public,
those are
and there's people that wear them in the office.
Trump is an active racist. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But like maybe like the middle class business woman or whatever, soccer mom who she's pretty ignorant-ish, but she don't even know the struggle. She don't know the play. All she knows
she likes to take gigs or something.
Well,
Yeah,
let's just say she had a little bit of a hard time, and she had to
Yeah.
live in a lower income neighborhood. She's gonna really struggle. She's gonna really press to get her child put into what she would consider a better class of education.
Their thing is keeping their foothold. Their whole thing is how the fuck do we maintain power? It's not necessarily how do we get more power and how do we maintain power. There ain't too many poor people of any race that's going to be able to overcome poverty. You know what I'm saying? In America, like it's not set up for that, right? But if you're middle class or you're upper and high, you know what I'm saying, even higher, your whole game is I want my child to have an advantage and to maintain that advantage. That's why you don't see, which I'll say this shit till I'm blue in the face. That's why you don't see you see LeBron James and all these celebrities and Jay-Z or whoever building schools and trying to get money to program after school programs or whatever, but you never see them lobby to actually get any policies changed because if once you I'm use the same example. So if LeBron James builds a school for $30 million, right? He has $30 million investment. It's not all this money, but it's a $30 million investment, right? Okay, cool. He's the name of the school, he's the face of the school, right? He has $30 million to build one school to help out one group of people in one area, right? Cool. I'm not taking anything away from that. That's dope. That's commendable, right? Now, all you're going to help with that $30 million are those kids that live in Akron, though, in that neighborhood, right? Follow me. If you took that same $30 million, I'm sorry, back it up a little bit. The reason why he needs to build a school, though, for $30 million is because the schools in Akron and the schools around the country in poor neighborhoods are devastated. They're terrible. They're underfunded. The quality of people that work there isn't high. Like, you just go down the line. It's all, because we live in a capitalist society. So if the money's not there, then everything subsequent to that is going to be messed up, right? So he takes $30 million, he starts a charter school, and that's fine. Like I said, imagine if he took that same $30 million and went to the governor or the senator or some Congress people and started lobbying them to get the law changed to where now every school in the whole state of Ohio gets the same amount of money based on how many students are at that school. Just if you got 10,000, if you got 1,000 students at that school, we're going to give you $2 a student. So this school is going to get, $2,000, whatever the case may be, whatever, right? So that's how it should be, right? But he won't do that because if he does that, his kids lose that advantage.
Yep.
What's the advantage for his kids now? His kids don't get, his property value goes down too because now every school is good school. And that affects your property value.
Sure
when
does.
when you're moving to your new neighborhood, the one of the biggest contributing factors is how good are the schools? Oh, the schools are great. Our property value goes up. It makes your house worth another $30,000 or whatever, another 8% or whatever it is, just because the school system is good.
Yep.
You dig what I'm saying? Why would a person, black, white, or otherwise, when they have all that money and they got that money so that they can have these advantages because that's the way the system is set up? Why would they then want to undermine that? It just logically speaking, I'm saying it doesn't make sense. I'm not even holding anything against them. Right. I don't think that these are like bad. I don't think LeBron James is a bad person. I don't think he's evil. I don't think he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just think he just is like, well, I got mine. I'll give back, but fundamentally change the system? Nah, and y'all can't tell me that nobody has ever brought this up to him. He kicks it with fucking Warren Buffett. He's in all of these circles and political circles and all these rich people. They know how to change the system, but they won't do it. They won't. It just ain't gonna happen. That's how the shit is set up. The more money you get, the closer you get. They come to you with the bag. They dropped the bag off on Obama fucking 10 years. I'm sorry, they dropped the bag off on Obama 30 years ago. They told him, hey man, we're gonna get you through college. All right, cool. He went along with the program and look where it got him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what they're gonna do. whether you're black, white, or otherwise, but specifically for black people, we got to stop fucking we keep selling ourselves out every single time that we get the opportunity to do something better or to actually pull a motherfucker up, right? Pull up the community. We take the bag.
Right.
Parity affects the pocket, so that, you ain't never lied when you said they don't want that shit to be equal because there's less. If you ain't got it all, that just means you got less. That's how.
Yeah, for sure. It's that they don't want it to get any more close to even.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they want?
I was just saying
it's
that.
Kind of like it's really not a hard to me. It's not like a hard concept to like understand. It's not something that I can't accept. I just accept it. I'm like, yeah, that's how it is. Why would they want it to change? Right? Obama got his kid. Obama just bought a $40 million mansion or something like that, right? If I'm not, mistaken, $40 million mansion. Obama is not a successful businessman, so how did he get $40 million to be a fucking president? President makes $300,000 a year, $400,000 a year,
something like that,
right? How did he get all that? Oh, he wrote a book, yeah, whatever the fuck. Obama's a capitalist. He uses you know what I'm saying? And now he's acting like one. He got his money.
Well, he got books and speeches. His wife got books and speeches. I mean, they private sectored well. They private sectored hella well.
They gave him $60 million for his book.
I mean, they gave I forgot how much they chipped Miss Obama. I forget her first name, Michelle. I forgot how much they chipped Michelle for. They paid her for her memoirs too.
I'm sure.
That's what I'm saying. They private sector, but you're right though. They private sector well, and all that says is they capitalized on being capitalist.
They capitalized on they sold out there. They sold out to people. What as a charter school teacher, I totally disagree with you. His children, schools would never compare to a charter school. He is not selling him. Yeah, that's my point. We don't need charter. If the regular school system was good enough, why the hell would we need a charter school? That's the point. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's kind of like what we were talking about with the insurance. It's kind of like the same logic with insurance, right? If we had Medicare for all, there would be no need for private insurance companies outside of supplemental insurance, or for people who are really wealthy and they want whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever. Maybe not even like cosmetic. I'm saying, right? Like
the one thing about Medicare for all is it bans also duplicated care. That's what would get rid of private insurance companies. That they wouldn't be able to insure something that Medicare for all, that the single payer healthcare system already insures.
Right, like you wouldn't need to have two insurances just to cover one condition.
Right. I mean, that would basically mean everybody has to have Medicare for all.
Yeah, but I'm saying to his point with the school, I'm saying there would be no need for a charter school if all the schools in America were exactly the fucking same, and they all had money, and there was no underfunded schools. There would be no need for him to go build a $30 million school. It wouldn't make any sense. It would be stupid, right?
Right. But I would like to see LeBron James talking to Congress, or Comey showing up at Congress to speak about how the income disparity and property taxes, when you're using property taxes to pay for school systems, that it creates inequity. And this is the effect of the inequity in the school. Mm-hmm. But when you're using his platform to do things like that, but in order to when you use your platform for things like that, what happens is your brand will come under attack.
Yes. Colin Kaepernick will be the first to tell you that.
What it is, do you have the courage? Mm-hmm. Do you have the courage to take that kind of hit? Do you have agree with Kaepernick or not? Mm-hmm. It took a tremendous amount of
because
he knew it wasn't going to make him money.
Well, I mean,
he thought it wasn't going to make him money.
Right.
It ended up, it did make him money.
It opened other avenues.
But I mean, even those avenues brought him under attack by his.
It opened other avenues for him, but he liked the avenue he was on.
He was a professional football player.
Just keep playing football for 10 years and retire like every other freaking professional football player wants to do.
Right.
Yeah. He wasn't looking for a way out of playing football.
He already had mad endorsements. It was nothing. He's like, he was doing it for endorsements. He already had a gang of endorsements.
Yeah. Matter of fact, when he got the endorsement from Nike,
he was in San Francisco, one of the biggest franchises.
Yeah, he had crazy style, the tattoos.
He married kissing the muscles and all that.
He was sellable. He was sellable.
No, he's more than sellable. Yeah. He was on his way to being like the face of the NFL.
Well, he was marketable. It wasn't like he was. Who can I think of right now? Like he wasn't like he was like old boy from the Giants, Sam Daniels, whatever the fuck his name. He wasn't boring. He was already an exciting person.
Sure.
So it wasn't like they were telling
Cousins.
stories about the dudes. They were talking about it all the time. So
my point is that basically it takes courage to stand up for what you believe in and have your brand take a hit. Because people, when you get into that political realm, people are going to disagree with you. Michael Jordan. That's the difference between a Michael Jordan grade and a Muhammad Ali grade.
Yeah, you are 100% right about that.
100%. Joe Brown. I'm sorry, Jim Brown. Kareem. Like basically the old Vanguard players, they stood for something. Jordan came in the league in the 80s. Jordan could have been on the same type of shit because he played against those dudes so it wasn't like he was that far removed. Where like now. He
had those guys as an example.
Yeah, he had those guys as an example. And what did he do with it? He got up there and said, Republicans vote too. Republicans buy sneakers too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was his thing. He's a capitalist.
For every Jim Brown, you had the I'm not black emoji. You had
it was for every one Jim Brown, there was 10,000.
I was about to say there's a lot more than one, bro.
There was 10,000.
OJ, but it takes a special level of courage to say what OJ said. It takes a special level of courage to say that, hey, you know what?
I mean, but what are you afraid of if you say that if you're OJ? Who are you afraid of offending if you say that?
That is a good question.
Only black people.
Yeah, you're right.
Only black people. White people don't care if you say that. White people loved you when you say that. Yeah, I don't see color. They love that shit. I'm not black.
Boy.
That's what I was about to say. I don't see no color. I just see stats, buddy. Keep on pushing.
It was like this. It was because they were concerned with their life after the sport. Jordan, I'm going to be the big.
Well, I don't even think it was after the sport. I think it was during the time that they were in the sport. Because I don't think if Jordan.
Because Jordan could have stood up for that shit, still went up there, dropped 60 on Cap, and they loved it. But when he got out, the connection that he needed in order to become Jordan, they would have fucked up.
Brand Jordan.
Because just like Colin Kaepernick, he had connections then, and he does not now. When he started kneeling, a lot of his endorsements dropped. Right. Then you think about a guy like LeBron, but he's protecting what he wants to do after basketball. Yeah. You think about a guy like O.J. Simpson. He left football early to do what? To be an actor. Yeah. He's protecting
Jim Brown too.
He's connecting his connections. You know what I mean? But Jim Brown didn't give a fuck.
No, I know. I'm just saying. But Jim Brown left early and became an actor.
He was able to do it anyway. Yeah. Which basically goes to show you Muhammad Ali. He was, he wasn't concerned about. After boxing,
but Muhammad Ali was a different. Muhammad Ali was just on a different level.
He was being what he wanted to be.
That's what I said. Muhammad Ali
while he was doing it, he didn't wait till.
Well, Muhammad Ali walked away at the top because he wasn't gonna let nobody. He was just a different breed. Like you say, it's just that courageous. He had that. Yeah.
But they all are. But they all were different back then. It was a different time, so I don't want to. But whatever though. But back to the original point to hear. Black people say that the number one whatever was racism. The number one fear of black people right now in America was racism. I didn't understand it. I was just like, I couldn't, like I said, I would need to see what questions they asked, but I felt like that was like.
Yeah, it was on the question. I need to see that.
There were certain things that were glossed over in this debate to bring it back. Climate change was glossed over in this debate.
Of course. I think climate change, because of what happened at the G7 summit, it's already got its stage. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to be able to avoid that no matter what coming up. So.
They should always talk about that shit.
But you say it does already have its stage.
Well, no, when I say it has its stage, I'm not going to say had because it's not a past tense thing even now.
They've all said, I guess you could say they've all said it and they didn't want to beat a dead horse. But at the same time, they did talk about it.
But they talked about it.
They brought up some questions about it. It was just, it just was glossed over.
I'm saying they talk about healthcare every single fucking debate. You know what I mean? So why not talk about that? You know what I mean? Because it's important to people. So why not talk about the shit that's important to people?
And then they know that even though healthcare is the thing that's most popular. Bernie's like shrimp, and it's what's seen as
socialist.
What people are going to vote for him.
So I want to ask y'all a question.
If you want to attack Bernie, let's not get it twisted, you guys. The entire media complex is against Bernie Sanders and what he stands for.
Well, the DNC is
The
against
only
Bernie
way you're
Sanders.
going to knock him off his square in any kind of major way is to knock the people's perceptions on healthcare. And the whole thing about healthcare, just to kind of bring that all together, I'll be really brief on it, we talk about it a lot, is that you can see whose healthcare, because everyone had a healthcare plan. You gotta have one.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, either they agreed with Medicare for All, like Yang, or Julian Castro, or they didn't. But it has to, see, the whole thing is you didn't see the paradigm shift. Bernie Sanders believes that healthcare is a right in his mind, in the fiber of his being. His paradigm is everyone has a right to healthcare. Other people just believe that everyone should have access to healthcare. But we have access to healthcare, just can't afford that shit.
Mm-hmm.
If I had $1 million, I'd do whatever healthcare I want, right? But I have access now.
Yeah, like Bernie said.
If I have the money, there's no doctor that's going to deny me.
Healthcare. Yeah, like Bernie said when he in the debate with the town hall with Ted Cruz like a few years ago, he was like, you have access to buy a Ferrari. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we got access to anything money can buy, but you got to have the money though. So fuck access.
So I got a question for y'all. With what we have left, or not even that was right. I was going to ask that question, but that's maybe in the show question. But right now, with what you guys saw right now, who has the most, I guess you could say, concise point about trying, or who has the most concise plan about being president? Who do you like? If you had to vote right now? Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay.
It's Bernie.
Okay. This is Bernie.
Yeah.
Is this Bernie?
Not even close.
Yeah. Bernie has been very transparent. He has not. He's actually rolled out plans. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what he wants because he's been saying the same thing for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
He's been very consistent. If you go back to the 90s and you look at Bernie Sanders, ain't nothing changed but the hairdo.
Wow.
He's saying the same exact stuff.
So
you even just go back to 2016 in the election and what you're talking about then. He says the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
So the reason I ask you that question is because Ty had even asked earlier, and I just haven't had a chance to get to it. Do you think the Democrats get to win? Does he need the Democrats to win both the House and the Senate?
Does he need that?
Does he need that to get any of these policies or any of the things that he's trying to change in place?
No, absolutely
not. No, he needs the people. Because the people will sway the whoever is in, the elected official or whatever. I would assume.
Yeah.
So your answer, Ty, right there. That's how they're going to pay for the free lobster. It's the people that's going to help. He asks, how's Bernie going to help us? Or how's Bernie going to give you my free lobster every night?
Was that?
Don't eat lobster, though. Don't eat lobster.
No, I just had to ask that because I'm looking at this, and it's starting to become overwhelming every day just to see. There's about 7 people on stage that don't need to be there.
You start choking, you have to go to the emergency room. You don't have to pay for that expensive ambulance ride.
The tracheotomy.
Yeah.
You don't have to get that penknife tracheotomy no more that they used to do in the fucking 80s and shit. They cut your hook open and put a fucking pin in your throat. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about.
That shit is crazy. So I also want to so I would say that when it came to what they were talking about with healthcare, definitely Bernie was the strongest. Where they didn't, the next thing that they were talking about was immigration reform, and they barely talked about it. And he has some of the best policy,
they avoided the two very strongest on immigration.
Just him and Warren?
Huh?
Him and Warren?
Kamala.
Bernie Sanders, Kamala.
Yeah. Kamala's plan is solid.
Solid on immigration. Yeah. And they didn't bring it to it. And they don't want that to me that's ratings bill for them.
What?
The supposed problem with divorce.
Oh yeah.
Because first of all, the first thing they have to do, and the media has helped perpetuate this, is they have led people to believe, the American people, that there's a crisis at divorce. First of all, there's no crisis. The only crisis at the border now is that they're taking people that are applying for asylum as per the law. They're putting them in cages. They're not feeding them and they're treating them badly. That's what's going on right now. That they're separating people from their kids simply by taking their own legal right to apply for asylum under U.S. law. That's
a crisis of nothing else.
Yeah, the crisis is that they're going into people's jobs while their kids are at school, and they're taking them and they're deporting them and they're taking them away from their kids.
What's the crisis? Is the violation of human rights. The crisis
is right. The overall, this administration's violation of human rights has created a crisis. There was no crisis at the border. Okay, and so when we look at those things, the media has perpetuated that story because that story is another way for them to get ratings. I was just explaining to Dee before we got in the car. Fox News, it doesn't matter who wins the presidency.
That's right.
Really, because it's still going to be Fox News.
ABC,
it doesn't matter who
CNN, all of them.
Because CNN, if they're going to still exist, no matter what, there's still going to be stories to be told. No matter who wins, they just want to be the ones there to frame it, right?
Yeah.
They want to be the ones to give it to you. They want to be the ones to get the advertisers to pay for it. That's all that matters to them. So instead of actually pushing the truth about issues, instead of highlighting the real people with the real solutions to a problem, instead of
talking about real problems,
right?
Other problems like they talk about Israel, apartheid state,
talking about tough things, and helping the American people come to an educated decision, one way or the other, right?
Feed them the sense.
They are interested only in sensationalizing
That's what I was trying to say,
and they have contributed to the polarization of the country. When in actuality, right, left, whatever, the vast majority of Americans are kind of a mixture of both, and it just depends on the issue. You know what I mean? And most Americans are reasonable and can be reasoned with.
Yeah, individually, but in the groups we're dumb as shit.
Oh no, yeah, you can talk to a person.
That's humans in general. That's not just Americans.
No. You can talk to a person. People are fucking scary and dumb. That's just how it is.
One person at a time. Yeah, we can reason with one.
That's why they have focus groups, and they don't have focus committee, or they don't have focus concerts. Because you can't talk to 70,000 people at the same time.
The media actually gives a damn about the process and it actually being done in a fair way, actually being done in a sensible way. Until the media actually cares about that process, we as a people need to refuse to partake
in the media. Well, in mainstream media, because y'all can definitely always come to Soapbox Heroes and get it unadulterated and unfiltered. We'll give you the straight shot. That's one thing I can tell y'all from watching all the shows that I've watched here, including the one we're on right now. But
they're biased.
We're not.
And we're biased.
No, we're super biased. Oh, I'm extremely
biased. We'll tell you we're biased.
I'm so biased.
They won't tell you they're biased.
Yeah.
And pretend like they're not biased and they're giving you something straight, but they will give you bias.
My bias.
Let you know.
My bias is for working class people. That's where my biases lie. Specific. I mean, and if I had to go even further, it's black people, like black working class people, like the people who I care about the most because we're the most affected.
Correction, we are biased.
Yeah.
Also,
and then you spread it out, and it's like working class people, and then but
of course, children.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I'm my shit.
But when I say that, I guess when I say y'all ain't unbiased, when I say we're unbiased, we're not biased towards seeing capitalism win. Like our bias is to make sure everybody has a fair story, at least to understand the point of view we're trying to explain.
We're biased and we'll tell you. That's the difference.
They're
biased and they act like they're calling it straight.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I love Bernie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Biased as hell about that.
And if Bernie does not win the nomination, I'm going to start a write-in campaign.
Yeah.
For Bernie Sanders.
That's where I'm at. I'm straight. I'm biased.
Working hard, still on the grassroots level. You know what I mean? I'm not second. I wouldn't vote for Elizabeth Warren. I don't like her. I don't trust. Like I'm just letting you know, like these are my biases. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not trying to like lie to y'all when it comes to that. But what I'm not gonna do is if I think
Like if she says something good, or if Kamala, like we were just talking about Kamala Harris right now with the immigration reform. We both said Kamala Harris immigration reform, solid, dope. Her healthcare for all shit, bullshit. Do I think that she really would try to fight for us in healthcare? Nope. Do I think she really would try to really do like comprehensive prison reform? Nope. See what I'm saying?
I do believe her on the immigration.
But I do believe her on the immigration thing because I do believe that doesn't affect any of her big donors.
And I think she's a human. And I think that affects her on a human level. I think the immigration, it doesn't affect her donors, and I think she sees the images.
I agree 100% with Prince. I don't agree with you on that friends and family, only because in that when Tulsi Gabbard brought up the fact that it took inordinate amount of pressure for her to give up evidence that would save a person on death row, you're kind of telling me you ain't got that much humanity.
She should have been in this debate.
I miss her already.
And I don't.
I don't miss her, but she should have been in.
No, I miss her because
That's another example. I don't really care for Tulsi Gabbard, but I wish she was in the debate because she deserved to be in the debate.
No, when I say I miss her, I just miss her because she came and she shot it straight. She held some people's feet to the fire. You know what I mean?
If you saw her interview I watched the interview that she did on David on the Rumor Report.
She shot it straight to hell. But
then I did watch all of Nico's.
I didn't watch this shit. I didn't watch it.
Oh my god! And I watched TYT's reaction, and then I watched Nico's reaction, not to the interview itself, to TYT's. He reacted to the reaction, which is because he wanted to basically call out Anna Kasparian, Emma Veglin, and Michael Brooks, which he also had to beat Michael Brooks. I didn't know that.
Emma Veglin. No, I don't know.
Because
we talking about people that mostly people.
Because of Michael Brooks' critique on Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. But these are people that most people.
Right.
I don't care about.
If y'all do know who they are, check them out. It's all this stuff we're talking about online. But Tulsi Gabbard, if you guys know who she is, I mean, she's still. She didn't make
I think she might actually end up making the next debate. To be honest with you, because I feel like the more they try to stomp her out, she keeps getting like she's not going anywhere. Her numbers are getting better. Her money's still coming in. I'm like, all right, well.
She's actually polling now higher than Kamala Harris.
That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
Like her numbers are going up.
At 6% in New Hampshire.
Okay.
She's right around where Donald Trump was at this time.
So gone but not forgotten. Gone from this debate, but not forgotten. Any other faces that you guys thought should have been on there while we're on that?
She's the one.
That's Tulsi?
Yeah, she's the one, and she was the one that got snubbed. I think that it's because, but I know that if they let Tulsi in, they would have had to let Steyer in because they both qualify with the money. The donors.
John Steyer's actually he's falling at like 1% in some polls too.
Yeah, Steyer's actually beating Tulsi in some polls.
Which I think is amazing.
It's
I know the polls are janky though, so
when you buy your way.
Yeah, I know the polls are janky, so I don't.
He's literally spending like $100 million, literally.
Jesus, just to keep himself afloat.
They were saying again.
Where's he getting all that money from?
Oh, he's a billionaire.
It was like
he's a multi-billionaire.
$29 billion.
I know who you're talking about.
$100
He's the one that came. He came in late, huh?
$100 million.
He came in late.
And that's honestly, honest to God, that's some crazy shit.
Yeah, that's deep.
That's a lot of money. But $100 million.
I don't know if I want to. That's the other thing. I don't know if I want nobody stupid rich, either whether it's red or blue. I don't know if I want another stupid rich person in the office.
Well, I don't want a stupid rich person. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, when I say dummy rich, I mean dummy rich. We're talking like a couple $100 billion, the only person I've ever heard talk about things that make sense economically for all people involved was Warren Buffett, and there's a reason Warren Buffett's never gotten into politics. Makes a whole lot of sense to me.
Well, Warren Buffett wouldn't get into politics because he wouldn't be able to get the things done
he really wants to get done. That's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's the type of rich person I'd want to see. But I know why a rich person like that wouldn't get involved. You know what I mean?
You want to see Warren Buffett? Warren Buffett.
And also, that's the type. I mean, that's the type of person.
Warren Buffett is. See, everybody. If you imagine America, a lot of people would imagine America to be like, oh, it'd be nice if America was a meritocracy.
Mm-hmm.
Like just how hard you work, but that's an ideal.
Right.
That's not what really happens. But Warren Buffett, he's a meritocratic type of person.
Yeah.
As in, I remember they had his granddaughter on Oprah. He was like, seriously, he paid for me to go to college, but he didn't pay for shit. He didn't pay for shit.
Yeah, that's on my wife's.
His whole shit is a meritocracy.
Yeah.
And he said when he died, he gave away 99% of his money.
Yeah, that's how Rockefeller was.
That's how
right.
Bill Gates is the same way.
But can you imagine someone running the government and saying,
you just got to work hard.
Yeah, the reason you're poor is because you don't work hard.
Yeah, that's the opposite.
That's Warren Buffett.
Yeah. So also,
he means well, but
that's what I'm saying. But I mean,
he's a billionaire, so I don't
it's
trust
hard to
anybody.
become a billionaire and be morally upright.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
that's why I said I don't know if I want another billionaire in office.
Andrew Yang, we totally glanced over this. Andrew Yang announced that he was going to give 10 families $100,000 a month for a year. And in his opening speech, that was really funny. Like, I was like, what the fuck? Like,
well, this is his experience.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was
I don't
dope.
think your sample size is large enough, so I'm going to shoot you my address. Yeah.
I think you need to up that by about a couple of zeros.
I do not have a problem with UBI. I have a problem with Yang's UBI.
Yes.
Because Yang's UBI is that libertarian UBI. That libertarian UBI that is going to allow him to defund, or someone else, either him or someone else, to defund and destroy welfare programs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't need
WIC.
welfare?
You don't need WIC. You got $1,000 extra dollars.
Yeah, $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
You don't need food stamps. What's SNAP for?
Go start a business.
That sounds like you're getting free money. Now it sounds like you want more free money.
Home buyer programs, all that shit.
Everything.
And when you don't deal with systemic racism in this country, when you don't deal with the mechanisms that are in place, like we just passed a rent control law in California.
We sure
But
did.
it wasn't good enough.
It sure wasn't.
It's
a start, though.
It's a start. But when you don't address the high price of housing, the fact that people are paying right now 50% or more of their income, and that's about
It's supposed to be about 55%.
a great deal of Americans are doing that.
Yeah.
When you don't address those types of things, when you don't address inflation, then what happens is $1,000 a month
Isn't really even $1,000 a month.
But it turns into an opportunity for big business, right?
Yeah,
it turns into an opportunity for predatory capitalism.
Yeah.
And we don't just giving me more $1,000. Oh, that's great. So between me and my wife together, we would both make $24,000 a year more.
You know what really concerns me about that?
More for us in terms of giving us stuff, but will it actually change?
No. Here's what I really worry about when it comes to Andrew Yang's, when it comes to UBI, what bothers me about UBI is the tax implications. You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna give me if you and your wife make $12,000 a year more, that's gonna move you up a tax bracket.
No, it's not tax. It won't count against you as a tax. Like, that's the whole point. What he was saying. He said it's no string. Supposed to be no strings attached.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no strings attached to me leads me to believe that it's not. It's literally just $1,000.
Well, I hope that you're right. But if you say you don't have anything, take four.
Mm-hmm.
And say you make $10,000 a year, $13,000 a year, you're at poverty level, $13,000 a year. And you use $12,000 a year. Okay, that's almost double your income. But say that now they've taken you off of certain services.
Yeah.
You no longer qualify for Medicaid.
Let's say you don't.
Because we cut Medicaid.
Right. I was gonna say.
Lower.
Or what if you What if you don't
We cut the
qualify for
threshold.
housing benefits? You know, because they give you housing vouchers and shit like that because you have $1,000.
We cut your threshold because we believe that, hey, since we're giving $1,000 a month,
Why do you need
do
anything
need
extra?
Other programs? Right. And it's going to basically, so everybody goes up 1,000, and then it just kind of cuts the legs off of some other people.
Yeah, that's right. That's kind of like
benefit.
It sounds great, but like when you start trying to because I haven't seen his plan in writing to really dig into it.
Middle class people.
Middle class people.
So you can pay for college now, like for your kids.
Yeah,
you know
you can do that.
If you have you and your wife in a home, and both of you guys are already working, and you get another $24,000 a year, you could save $24,000. I mean, you could save that for 4 years.
What if?
I can pay my student loan.
But then now you have universities that understand that, especially private universities that can use that knowledge to their benefit of raising the tuition. I don't know. It's like
the tuition will go up, yeah, because more people will have more money for colleges, and it would create a it'd be like a supply and demand kind of thing. Like there'd be more people going and less, whatever.
And if you really look at it from the other aspect of it too, you still have to let's say, like you said, let's say in a two income household, you have $24,000 extra a year. Let's say you could save half that, so $12,000 for an 18-year period that a child is alive, right? So I'm doing the math, I'm trying to do rough math here. Let's just say I'll take the 10, I'll just make it 10,000. So that's about $200,000 a year for college, right? Now, when you get there, by that time that child is 18 years old, I don't know. I think I just feel like because we live in a capitalist country, this always goes back to capitalism. I feel like they're going to find a way to get that money plus some either way.
Yeah,
I've always felt like
I agree. That. I mean, I know they're going to come after the money so much. Just like we talk about with reparations. If they just write us a check and don't fix any of the systemic issues, then the money's just going to end up right back into capitalism in the capitalist hands.
Tyrone, why you listen? Dude, I know Prince. I know you were there for a while and you kind of left.
Mm-hmm.
And on the show on leadership.
I didn't even know what happened yet.
Great show, by the way. But there was, I don't know, I forgot the young lady's name. And I don't think you have her on your show anymore. You said she's John's friend. I don't understand her points. I don't know. I'm not gonna do too much. But Tyrone kind of knows what I'm talking about because I kind of texted him and was like, what is she talking about, bro? Like, she has fallen into the ADOS wormhole, and now she has all the whack ass ADOS talking points.
Sauce in the sauce, if you will.
And I just don't think that should be broadcasted out to people on the radio.
I don't know what she was talking about, so I'm lost. But.
So when she's talking about basically about politics.
Mm-hmm.
And, I don't know. A lot of I wipe a lot of shit because you got, you know what I mean? A lot of you guys kiss my ass, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. And just the pro Kamala type of, you know what I mean? And then what are you gonna do for black people? Like looking for the specificities of what are you going to do for black people, right? Mixing that with, your anti-immigration rhetoric and mix that with the whole ADOS thing.
I see what you're saying.
And then,
so it's almost like a convoluted bowl of chili.
What she was saying, it was kind of like, damn, that sounds kind of familiar. Like stuff. Then she said something about, she's not, or even though she's not ADOS or something fucking funny like that. I'm like, oh, okay, she's on that shit. But then she started talking about reparations and then said, well, it's not just reparations, it's other programs too, right? Mm-hmm. And then you reject someone like Bernie Sanders, not understanding that if you're talking about, you go checklist for checklist on ADOS, mm-hmm. Bernie Sanders' agenda fits the best out of all the candidates mm-hmm. with the ADOS agenda, but then we'll reject Bernie Sanders as a candidate.
We've had that conversation before, and it don't make no sense. It literally makes
it doesn't.
It's
make
fundamentally. I think when we did the show about this, that's where we got. The only thing we got hung up on was the reparations part, but everything else that didn't make sense is like we're reading the manifesto, if you will, and almost all of the things that you're asking for your group specifically.
I want to be honest. I'm waiting for them to be honest. And the honesty that I'm waiting for is we wrote all the rest of it. We really don't need all the rest of this shit. Just give us our money.
That really is the way it should be.
No, that's how they feel.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're being disingenuous.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, what it should be is your mission statement should be, we're here to get reparations for black people. We would like these other things, but you can't
do that. They got to solve it because they're dealing with politics.
I know.
And so their politic is, oh, no, we're not just coming just for the money. We have a comprehensive plan.
But that mean
for black
politics.
people.
But politics are disingenuous.
Candidates that have comprehensive plan for black people.
But when you have a candidate who has those same principles for everybody, again, you know my position. This doesn't make sense.
What was interesting tonight was when Pete Buttigieg actually brought up that, and he all but said reparations. He was like the Frederick Douglass bill.
Oh no, who actually said reparations?
Who was it?
Corey.
No, it wasn't Corey. I don't think
It had to be Pete.
I'm going to sign a reparations bill. I think it was Pete.
It had to be Pete.
Yeah.
Because Pete was. It was like what he was saying. How he was talking about black people, and he was like, he mentioned, and
it was Beto.
It was Beto. Yeah, but it was Pete, and Pete was Pete Buttigieg brought up how because they that first of all, I want to say this too, that black woman mediator, don't know her name because I don't watch ABC at all, like as a network whatsoever. She was hitting everybody hard with the black.
She asked good questions.
She was asking good, great, like hard hitting questions. She wasn't following up well. She wasn't holding people's feet to the fire, but she was like, the question was like, oh shoot, she's really coming at y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pete went into that whole dissertation about how, Biden. They brought up some quotes that Biden had made like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever, about how he shouldn't be responsible for what his great grandfather did 300 years ago. And he's only responsible for what they're doing now, blah, blah, blah. And Pete laid it out pretty eloquently. And he went right to the freaking cusp of saying reparations. And then was like, yeah, that's why I co-sponsored the Frederick Douglass bill. And I was like, eh. But this is why I want to give ADOS props.
Mm-hmm.
Because that shit wasn't happening. That would not come up ever in a debate if ADOS movement wasn't pushing for that. I don't agree with a lot of that shit, but I agree with reparations. I agree we need to atone, or we need to have atonement in this country. Now, like, we need to atone. We didn't do anything. But, there needs to be an apology. There needs to be money. There needs to be repairs. Damages were done. We need to fix it. And we can't move forward in a country until we do that now. And I want to say this lastly, too. I thought about something recently about, I was thinking about like Greenville, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that until we defeat capitalism, racism, whatever, both because they both go hand in hand. Until we defeat that, y'all could kiss that Green New Deal type talk out the window. Y'all could throw that shit out the fucking window. It ain't happening. Like, we need like a concentrated effort on, like, we need to attack that. We need to get rid of the people that are like the Mitch McConnells and you know what I'm saying? We got to do that type of stuff. We also need to get laws on the books. There
needs to be systematic reform.
Yeah, this is what I believe, because I saw like commercial for like climate change, and then like I was reading something on Twitter, and then this girl, I remember, it was this girl. She's from like some Scandinavian country, and she flew over here for these protests that are supposed to happen coming up next week or something like that. She's like 15 years old.
Oh, yeah,
the young girl, right? You saw her.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to what she's saying, and I'm like, damn, you flew halfway across the world to come fight for climate change, but you ain't fighting racism. Like, and I know people won't make that connection, but I'm telling you, we have to break that shit down so we can get to the next level, because we're not gonna all agree on anything until we get past like this fucking hurdle. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That is capitalism.
The isms that we have in front of us.
Like, until we get past that, there ain't gonna be like, you're never gonna get. It's gonna always be this great big group of people that are like, global warming. The world heats up every year, two degrees for the last. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you're gonna get that cockamamie bullshit because they want to believe it, because they don't give a fuck about you, because they don't care. Even if you want, they don't care. They just don't care. See what I'm saying? So until we can fight the system on that level, like for that type of stuff, like I don't really see it happening. I feel like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's not until it becomes like people around the world are concerned about the planet getting hot. Until people
They
start
are.
worried about, well, that's what I'm saying. Like until people start worrying about how people on the planet are being treated as well, you're not going to have more people. Because like what you're saying makes perfect sense. Like if you're going to fly all the way over here to my country to complain about some shit that affects the whole world, and you ain't worried about what's going on in my country, I don't give a fuck about what you're flying over here for.
America has to be the leader.
Have to.
But what I'm
We're
saying
the biggest
is,
polluter too, so.
well, yeah. What I'm saying though is like it's going to be hard
That's
to
another
get.
thing that they didn't bring up. This is what I'm saying. They always exist in this box when they're talking these things, right?
Let's go down and have a minute.
No. That's not my point. They exist in this box of they won't talk about like when Marianne Williamson was up there, she would be the person like everybody would be talking about healthcare, and then she would say, yeah, healthcare is dope, but why the fuck are we getting sick to begin with?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, what's the root cause of the disease? You see what I'm saying? Like now I'm like, now she's on like I'm on that shit. So the problem that everybody's talking about global warming. Then they brought up like one of the dude from television or Univision or whatever the hell was like, oh, we should stop eating. Like some people say we should stop eating red meat. I'm like, really?
Because he's trying to get somebody.
There's always been the argument that cows
but
produce the most methane.
That's not going to stop global warming.
Those are right-wing questions.
Right.
And they're trying to get people to. It's almost like, let's look at it from their perspective. They could be saying, well, we're asking these because there are real right-wingers out there with real concerns, and these are the concerns they have. We're giving you a chance to
tell them we're not going to take your burgers.
But you got to understand something. When you've got a President Trump that has a 90% approval rating amongst the Republican Party, the Democratic debate should not center around changing the minds of right-wingers.
Yeah. I agree with that 100%.
Giving them questions to galvanize the base. And you're not doing that when you're asking these bitch-ass questions.
Well, I mean, we're talking about
framing, when you give them these right-wing framing to these questions, it's almost like the answer is already someone has to be on the defense just to answer the question.
Well, I'm not going to take away your burgers. Like, all right. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, yeah, cool.
But that's not a concern. But left wingers that are concerned about climate change understand that that's not anyone's position.
Yeah.
Right.
Already.
Yeah,
so when you bring up that
100%
position,
on that.
it's almost like you're inviting someone into the conversation that doesn't need to be in.
That part.
If this is an in-house thing, a Democratic Party thing, then let's keep it Democratic questions and let's get it based on what our own paradigms and the things that we already
That's very, very, very. I like that you said that, and I also want to ask you this thing: what do you feel about how many times they mentioned Donald Trump?
I think that it's.
Do you feel like that's necessary?
It's sickening.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
It is a product of the fact that the main decision, the main thing affecting decisions right now in the Democratic Party in terms of the electorate, is electability, and that's a bullshit term. Mm-hmm. But because the media has perpetuated it and hasn't slapped it down, with the exception of people like Crystal Ball-Hill.
Yes. I don't know if that's mainstream.
She's super dope.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I don't know where the Hill comes from. It is I don't know.
The Hill is online.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all online. That's what I'm saying.
But she used to work for MSNBC.
No, I know. Yeah, I know her story.
She left
to go work for the Hill.
No, she got cut.
There was a lot of shit.
She got fired.
Between them, right? MSNBC did a whole
shit. A purge.
And they got rid of anybody that looked like they was real progressive. Mm-hmm. They got rid of them. Crystal Ball was one of those people. Mm-hmm. But they still invite neoliberal, neocons and stuff on.
They might have her back on there.
But Crystal Ball is she's an anchor on the Hill. She's like the main shit. So she's like the main star of the shit. Yeah. So she's with it. You know what I mean? But I forgot the question.
No, so I said, do you think it's good
that they're
in the Democratic primary?
Yeah, we gotta get rid of the argument that of electability, because the people who can beat Trump, anybody that you are willing to vote for can beat Trump.
There it is.
And the thing is, all we have to do is make sure that we're voting for someone that we are willing to vote for, that we are willing to, and the party and the people that lean left are willing to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about big tent bullshit, okay? I'm not talking about big tent bullshit. We need to say fuck the middle.
Yes.
And we need to
and fuck the right.
And we need to and fuck the right, and we need to get the true left as excited as possible. We've got to get young people voting. We've got to get people that turn their back on politics back involved.
Mm-hmm.
We've got to get the people that voted for Obama but then turned around and voted for Trump because they were fooled by fake populism back
neoliberalism
to real populism, right? We need to get people that have been normally disenfranchised from the process. We need to get minorities voting. We need to get homeless people voting. We need to get working class people off their ass and voting. That's, and that is what the heart of the message needs to be. Not about who's the most electable, because
that person is the most electable.
The left is the winner of any real election in the United States. Mm-hmm. If they do the correct job of getting the vote turned out. That's why when you talk about voter suppression, it's always something that it's a right-wing thing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Voter suppression, even when someone on the left does it, it's a right-wing thing.
Yeah, there is no left. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If
someone in the Democratic Party practices voter suppression, it's because there's someone to the left of them that's running that they're trying to get.
Yeah, it's never against like a person that's more right than them. It's always a person that's more left of them.
I agree with you, Ty. We do need to know what we're voting for. Again, that's probably the biggest problem. That's one of the main things I've hated about.
Yeah, but what do you want to know about it? Because it's impossible to know everything about someone, right? Mm-hmm. What do you want to know? I want to know what they're going to do about the rising cost of healthcare and why 80 million people do not have healthcare. I want to know, right? I want to know when the environment and climate change is an existential threat to America and the rest of the world. I want to know what you're going to do, right? I want to know. There's plenty of people that are in prison for crimes that are nonviolent, and they're serving damn near life sentences for crimes that are nonviolent, and they don't deserve to be locked behind bars. And there needs to be more focus on rehabilitation. I want to know what you're going to do about that. Mm-hmm. I want to know what you're going to do with the fact that the income disparity is so great that we have 3 people that have more money than 50% of the bottom 50% of Americans. I want to know what you're going to do, right? Mm-hmm. I want to know that about you. I don't give a damn about a lot of the shit that they're talking about. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason I hate debates the way they are.
Yeah,
because it doesn't give an opportunity you don't get a real opportunity to truly hear what these candidates are going to do about anything.
But I also want to know if you're going to actually fight for that shit when you get it.
That part.
And
the only person I can actually say that's why I agree with everybody that says they like Bernie Sanders. It ain't because I believe Bernie Sanders is the best choice because of what he's saying he'll do. I believe he's the best choice because I've seen him actually fight for those things.
Yeah.
Right. And fighting, and whether someone will fight or not, you can't even say anything to convince me. It's all about track record. Yeah. Because if we were right now, if I knew I was walking down the street with somebody and I was wondering if this person would fight and we get down something, and the track record was like, oh, this dude was with the ran. Yeah. Either way, right? Yeah. If I knew he was with the shit, I'm like, okay, he will fight.
Yeah.
If I don't know, I don't. If you never been in that situation, then I don't know. I'm not gonna assume. Yeah. And then if he can always run off, I'm gonna assume he's gonna run off.
What will be different this time?
Right. So
I have a
who's
question.
Been with the shit, before? That's why the top 3, and people want that too. That's why the top 3 candidates are all 70 plus and have extensive political records.
Yeah,
because people want to give somebody that they know.
So here's the last thing I wanted to ask you guys, and it's something that I've seen in the last 2 or maybe all 3, but I see the first one. But
I never.
Why are people coming out and they're going at Joe Biden so hard? Why are protesters going at? Because I was trying to look right now to see even what they were saying. But for the last 2 debates now, Joe Biden has been directly attacked by
he's a front runner.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. And you've seen the results. Debate number 1, Kamala Harris attacks Joe Biden. She starts to surge in the polls. Mm-hmm. Right? So now, debate number 2, debate number 3, You've seen other people that were lower. First, Bill de Blasio in debate number 2.
Mhm.
Julian Castro
No.
in the debate number 3. So 2 of the lower, also ran, going directly at Joe Biden. Why? To make that same Kamala Harris type move.
Yeah.
Because really, even though those guys are polling about 1% or 2% or so, right? De Blasio less. I think De Blasio just back it up.
Oh, he's still in it.
Is he still in it?
Yeah, he's still in it.
I did not see him on the stage tonight.
No, just because people aren't on the stage doesn't mean they're not in it. They're just not.
They didn't get
There's
it
still
right.
20 people
Okay.
running.
Yeah,
But
Tulsi's still in it.
you got
Yeah.
Julian Castro. He really is a 3, 4, 5 point surge, and he's in the game. You gotta remember, it's just 2015. I mean 2015, right? It's
Still 2019, yeah.
2019, right?
We got a little bit to
one
go.
primary yet.
No.
And if you had enough to make this third debate, you should be good until at least the first primary.
And they want to justify, like, the party wants as many people as they can to split the vote. So they're like, yeah, 2% just stay in there. Just tell everybody to stay in there. So nobody's leaving.
Right.
I don't think anybody's dropping out.
Right. I think the DNC is definitely encouraging people to
Sure.
stay in because remember what they ultimately want is they want those super delegates to come into play.
Yeah. Which I don't think is going to happen.
I do. I don't think anybody's going to win the first ballot.
The reason why I don't believe that is because I would believe that if I thought it was going to be a real 3-way race. But at this rate, man, I think Biden's going to be like done by the time Iowa comes around.
Done but replaced.
Nobody can.
And the neo-libs will have their person. It's not going to be
Warren.
It's not going to be Warren and it's not going to be just Warren and Bernie.
No.
Somebody, it's going to be
have Kamala in there or whoever.
Kamala's probably going to stick through to I don't stick through to the.
But I'm saying,
Tulsi has confirmed
how many
to the convention.
Let's do a real. And if 8 people make it to the primary, right, and actually go through the primary,
or make it to the convention at the end.
No, not at the end. I'm talking about the first one.
Okay.
The first primary in Iowa.
All right.
Okay.
Only if it was Biden, Bernie, and Warren, and then it was Kamala and Booker and what Booker, they're not getting. I guarantee they won't get they won't get 1% between other votes, right? I don't believe that. If it's 3 of them, so it's still going to be between those 3. I don't think there is nobody that they could replace Biden with that would actually put a dent in Bernie or Elizabeth Warren. So I think it's going to be, when it's all said and done,
they will have somebody.
It's going to be Warren, and then there's going to be the people that you see right now. They're going to be some dark horse person. They're already, whoever, Buttigieg. Okay, cool.
So I was just doing my little bit of research. I like to read up on stuff. So what the actual people were chanting, if our viewers didn't catch it because I couldn't understand it, they were actually DACA recipients, and they were saying that our lives are at risk. And I'm kind of concerned. I'm kind of confused as why they were screaming that at Joe Biden. I think that has a lot to do with the fact that he doesn't really speak up on his immigration policies as well as probably should.
He does. And he basically said that him and Obama. I think that it wasn't necessarily against Joe Biden. If they were saying we're DACA recipients, our lives are at risk, I think they were just saying that that basically because of Trump, this administration's posture towards DACA, they're trying to eliminate everything about it. They repealed it, right?
Yeah.
And they're trying to basically, they're at risk of being deported.
But it's very interesting. I find it very interesting that they waited till Joe Biden was about to say.
Yeah, I don't be thinking any of that stuff just be like, oh, they were just gonna do it. Like, no,
I think that was Carson.
That they wanted to. Yeah.
I mean, I think that has a lot to do with the fact that even in the second debate, I mean, one of the things that he's been constantly getting nailed on is the fact that he has a little bit of a racist past, or his practices and his way that he votes is a little discriminatory. So if you're looking at it from
the racist for sure.
Well, yeah, if you're looking at it from an aspect that he is a front runner, which I mean, in front of the people, you 100% right, he's a front runner. So it's a great I think it was right to attack him, but I don't think that was the only reason. I think they did that because they believe if he wins, it's more of the same under Joe Biden, which, should bring some attention to, whether he's because if you get, I think Joe Biden understood what they were saying because it flustered him.
Or he just heard people yelling. He was like, I can't.
Oh no! Look, because I was reading what Time was saying that he was sitting. The guy that was saying what he was saying was a couple of them, but the person that was saying it was sitting in the front row, right there to the right. So I'm pretty sure he heard it, but it seemed like it flustered him. It seemed because immediately after that, it was like he could, like we were already joking about that even before the debate finished. It's like he wasn't really working too hard on finishing sentence.
He's senile.
But no, I think that for what it looked like, body language from him was just like, I don't even know how to respond to these kids because I'm old. And
Joe Biden.
Well, the best response was no response.
Yeah. What was he gonna say to that? I'm a fan. Like,
me and Obama, we started that.
Yeah.
We started this gangster shit.
Yeah.
But he did say that in the second debate, though. Remember? He's known for that. He's known to throw that out there as like, this is why it's me.
I think DACA is something that the Obama administration
should be, and they should be.
Well, then he's gonna bring it up every day.
But you shouldn't if it's in shambles. This is the wrong time to bring it up.
Because especially to combat the question that was given to him,
especially when speaking at the University of Texas,
the mass deportations under Obama.
Mm-hmm.
He said, you know what, DACA.
Well, let me ask you this: why do you think all of a sudden the candidates were? All of them were like, it was so much Obama dick riding. Like,
I don't know why that made me think of that Boondocks episode.
Where did that come? I didn't understand. I was like, this is the third debate. I haven't seen that.
Because he was the most popular Democratic.
No. Why are they doing that?
It's because Obama is recently been named the most popular person.
Yeah.
And he has 90% approval rating amongst the DNC as far as people like him. And they're realizing that Joe Biden, what's really keeping him afloat
is the fact that he was attached to tobacco.
Obama. So now they're all saying, well, I was Obama too. Well, I was in Obama's administration. Well, I was, you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm continuing.
It's like
you don't need Joe Biden just to continue. If you're concerned about someone continuing Obama's legacy, you don't need
Maybe
Joe Biden.
Butchart did that. He attached himself to that. Yeah.
Like it was like when Scottie Pippen made the play to go get that money from Portland. You know what I mean? I was with Jordan, so I knew I have to be somewhat of a winner. You know what I'm saying? If anybody else that was playing on that team could have done the same thing that Scottie Pippen did because they had a little bit of talent, they would have done it. You know what I mean? So that makes sense to me. I could see them all jumping on that bandwagon because one of the things Barack Obama was very successful in doing in his 8 years was getting people out to vote. That was really, he got people to come out and vote. So if you're concerned, because all of us know last election it was a horrible voter turnout. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to try to make a change as a Democratic nominee, you need people to vote. So you're trying to tap into that.
Obama's going to get Obama is their way, the corporate Democrats' way of getting people to come out and vote because they know they can't get people to come out and vote. Not with these candidates based on their personality or with their So they're like, we got to still attach ourselves to Obama. If they had somebody that was like exciting and charismatic and was like, but they thought it would Kamala, but she's not. But yeah, if they had somebody like that, then they wouldn't be invoking Obama on that level. But
you 100% right. Nobody did that with Bill Clinton. Because Bill Clinton was.
Listen, they didn't need to do it with Clinton because Clinton won, right? Clinton did 2 terms, right? Mm-hmm. They did it for the nomination. Mm-hmm. You don't do it in the general election.
No. What I'm saying is like Bill Clinton was considered a very popular president at the end of the 20th century.
Mm-hmm. But
I think he's still more popular.
All parties, right?
Yeah.
They have certain presidents that they evoke. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Reagan,
Reaganomics.
You're going to have Trump is going to be one of those guys.
No,
you're going to see in generations next people evoking Trump.
You think they're going to invoke him? You
think
they're going to invoke him in a positive light or a negative light?
Positive. Okay. Like
if you're a Republican.
If you're a Republican. Okay. Just like they were evoking Reagan. Tell you about rape. They're voting rape. They don't vote Bush, but you got, and then you got like Bernie Sanders.
Which one?
JFK, FDR, Bernie Sanders. He votes them.
Yeah.
He brings them up like boom. You know what I mean?
Not even JFK. FDR. I never heard him talk about it. What the fuck did JFK do?
He got us on the moon, and he got his brains blown out.
Listen,
JFK didn't do shit.
but
he had a hot affair.
It was his. It was more. It's more like a theory. It's in theory because you got to think about politics isn't just what you did, because a lot of politics is about what you failed trying to do.
Yes.
Right.
It's about theory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's about the way you thought about something, what they said about things, and things like that. Like for instance, Jeffersonian theory. Basically, Bernie Sanders is evoking Jefferson every time he talks, because the Jeffersonian theory, right, is the ideal. The Jeffersonian ideal in political theory is that the people have the actual power in the government. You know what I mean? That was Jefferson, and as opposed to someone like Hamilton, who believed in a stronger federal government and that the power lied in the elected officials. You know what I mean? And in the business and in the people that like employers and things like that. You know what I mean? Like a bourgeoisie type of deal. So you had those two different dynamics still in. Remember, just like Mark said, it all boils down, no matter what. If you look throughout history and you're talking about government, talking about politics, it all boils down to class war. Right?
Yeah.
And it's really only two classes. It's the proletariat and it's the bourgeoisie. And they're both always going to have their representatives.
Yeah.
So you got a guy like Jefferson, right? You got a guy like FDR. They were prominent examples of people.
Proletariat.
Right.
Proletarianism.
Right. And then you have your Alexander Hamilton. You have your anybody you see on the money.
Yeah, like Kennedy. Kennedy was definitely a money family.
No, anybody you see on the money.
Oh, on the yeah, I'm saying.
Right? Anybody you see on the money, they are normally bourgeoisie. Normally.
George Washington, I wouldn't say so much.
Yes.
Oh,
George Washington was a Federalist.
Yeah, he owned.
He didn't have a political party, but he was a Federalist. He's a bourgeoisie guy.
If you own
Abraham Lincoln, he was.
Abraham Lincoln wasn't. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln, and he wasn't really a people person. He just wanted to free the slaves.
He was a decent.
Slaves as it was a political.
It was a
play
yeah. His was an economical play. It was an economical play. Andrew Jackson. What about Andrew Jackson?
No, Andrew Jackson was definitely.
To the victors go to spoils.
Yeah.
That's what he got. He got to say that. You put your friends.
Ben Franklin. I mean, Ben Franklin's on the hunt, and Ben wasn't even the president. So
Jackson was the first Donald Trump, and you know that Donald Trump moved Andrew Jackson's portrait into his office and moved the other one, like George Washington was.
Yeah.
Somebody, whoever he had in there, moved that one out. He moved Andrew Jackson.
He likes Andrew Jackson.
He likes Andrew Jackson.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson was a fighter.
Trump is Andrew Jackson was Trump.
Yeah.
Trump is Andrew Jackson today.
Yeah.
Modern day.
So,
that's why it pays to know history too, so we can know the outcomes. But I don't know, whatever. So, got anything else you want to add?
I Love America.
The book? Or?
Yes. I wish I
Love America.
Man, Channel, I wish y'all could have seen my face. I looked at that man crazy as hell right now. Like, what?
And that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Well, I can't see what. You look at me crazy if I say I love America. Why? I'm American. I've always lived here.
I like America. As a friend.
I love America.
I don't know about loving that ass.
No, I love America enough. I love America enough to be able to criticize it. I love America enough to fight for the changes that I want to see in America. I love America enough to raise my kids here. I can fucking get the hell out of the country if I want to. If I was really determined enough, I can get the hell out of here.
I mean, that's the equivalent of when people tell you to leave the country. It's like, I could, but
I ain't going to.
But in reality, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's pointless to leave this country because it belongs to me. It's part of me. I'm an American.
Yeah, I'm on that. Yeah.
And I have the ability to affect change. I'm just as American as anybody else in America. And
I don't
think
know if I can say I love America.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go out in that land, my friend.
But I respect it.
America ain't just because to me, America is, I don't know everybody in America, but everybody I know is in America is pretty much American, right? And America to me is y'all. America to me is my family. America to me is the people that
So you
I
love the
know
American
and
people.
impact every day and that stuff, right? That's what America is.
Definitely don't love American people. All right, here's my thing, because I love okay, so let's be fair. I love and have empathy and respect for humanity. So
Yeah.
yes, I'm technically speaking, I love America too, but I love Canada, I love Brazil. You know what I mean? Like I love everyone. Okay.
I don't think it's a big deal. I think the only reason I'm here is because I was born here. It's not a big deal like American nationalism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's not super important.
Yeah, that's all it is for me. Like I don't give a fuck about it. I'm not nationalistic at all. I don't.
Like I said, I mean, I like America enough to stay in it, sleep with it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even take it out to dinner. But I'm not married to this motherfucker. Sorry to say it.
I'm married to it because
I ain't got no choice.
I only speak English.
I'm moving to different countries.
I thought about moving to so many other countries before. I got 2 kids and I speak English.
It would never be permanent.
And I ain't going nowhere.
Well, I mean, English is the lingua franca, so I mean, it's not like you
I
can't.
move for different experience. If I was moving to get away from the problems of America, I would move because.
Well, the problems are
here.
systematic. I mean, they're problematic everywhere. You go to France right now; they've been fighting for months about the working class.
It's been documented that, like even James Baldwin talked about it in the 60s and 70s. He was saying like when he went to France, he said like he didn't know that he had all this anxiety about being black until he got outside of America. So it ain't the same everywhere.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
They treat you a little different in some other places.
America is definitely built on racism in a way that other Western world countries just simply.
That's what I'm saying, Tom.
Racism exists in other countries, but in America, I feel like racism, like America is racist. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it like that's what it is.
But when I saw like those soccer hooligans all on that subway one time, and the black dude tried to get on the same thing, they wouldn't let him on, and they were singing that song, "I'm a racist and I love it" or something. It was weird. It's like they had a song like "a racist and I love it."
But if you know about soccer,
it was in Great Britain,
super racist.
and that shit was
that shit. Well, see, Great Britain has a dubious distinction of going to a country and indoctrinating the country, but then taking the country back home with them. Like they didn't do the slavery. They didn't do slavery the way that America did slavery, and that's probably why they have the trouble they have. It's like they were like when Jamaica finally was like, "All right, we're done with this shit. We're not gonna let Britain run us anymore." Britain was like, "All right, we're leaving." I mean, like they did the same thing in India. That's why the Indian culture is heavy in Great Britain. But there was no war with Great Britain, or there was no war with the Indians in Great Britain because India was like, "The fuck out of here," and they were like, "All right, fuck it, we'll take our team." There was a fight, but it wasn't like, all right, well, fuck. You had to come over here and make us leave. It just Great Britain is racist, but they're racist with class, I guess, if you want to call it that. They're not as racist.
I don't buy that shit at all. They the most racist motherfucker.
Oh, they'll call you. I mean, they'll call him a piss-headed army.
I think out of the European nations, they're probably the most like racist if you go to Europe. Like that's probably the one place where I would.
Well, it's an island. No, and
or the Spanish.
The Spanish hate you. Well,
Bro,
if you're not rich,
you can name any of them countries, and I believe you. You can say Italy, fucking Italy. You don't think Italy?
Oh yeah, Italy
You don't
racist as
think
fuck.
fucking Poland is fucking? You don't think fucking Scandinavian, Switzerland? Look at what just happened in fucking ASAP Rocky over there. Like, of course, them countries racist as fuck. Racist as shit, man. I don't.
Hey, that's what I'm saying. You can't.
Yeah, no, Italy.
Belgium?
Italy will throw. Like you can be. I don't know if you ever heard of this dude. His name is Mario Balotelli. Football player. Football, not football, but football player. And he's an Italian born and raised. And motherfuckers throw bananas on the field every time he plays.
Yeah.
And he's Italian.
Yeah.
He's not Italian like a national. Long story short, racism's fucked up around the globe. Yeah. But at the same time, like I've been to India personally, and I've had them actually say to me, like, how do you deal with it? Like, but it's classism because over there in their country, it's seriously what we complain about here is a fact of life over there. We talk about classism because it's like we're starting to realize, oh, it's not just racism. Racism is a blatant term for a lot of this shit. But over there, it's literally you can be Indian, but if you own a nail shop and I beg for change, I'm never gonna flip that. That's never gonna flip. Like I have a friend of mine, she was telling me about how like when they arrange marriages, they don't arrange marriages because they want to have control over who you marry. You know what I'm saying? It's not that. It's to make sure you don't marry below your class. Yeah. Because you can't do that. Like you can't marry up a class. If you were a peddler on the streets, you can't marry into a family full of doctors. They just won't let you do it. Yeah. So
there definitely is over here.
Well, like Punjabs don't like people from Calcutta, but that also goes in the fact that half of India is communist still, and the other half is, for lack of a better term, they respect democracy. They do allow voting.
I mean, they're racist, like because they were affected, like the rest of the world, they were infected by Western society. So you see a lot of like the Indian women or people who are like the most popular over there, and they look like white women.
Yeah.
And then
very much so.
You wouldn't even know that the majority of Indians look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know that, and then you go over and you're like, what the fuck? Like
dark as fuck.
Yeah,
they darker than you.
Like,
what the fuck?
Black to the motherfucker.
With straight with white hair though. They got that white knockoff here. But again, you're right though. I mean, that comes from having Western philosophy pumped onto you and made your way of life. Not even just it's an option. It's made a way of life.
Also the fact that what I call like old world philosophy in terms of that central Mesopotamian type of like religious embattlements that go on in India as well, where
it's not even that bad. I was there in 2006, and it used to be mostly a communist country, but because they've gone to a much more, I guess you could say, tolerant way of life, there's like 5 religions in any one city, and they all get along. It's not as bad as it used to be.
There's a difference between.
They're fucking over there.
It's almost like
no. I'm saying like in places where democracy is represented, or where they take on a more democratic look or approach to life. Like I was in Delhi, which is northern capital, because they do separate the country into 2 parts. You could get away with that, but like if you go down to Calcutta, not happening, because it's a communist country down there. But more importantly, it's a communist Muslim country, and they're not allowing you to come down there and rock that fucking. You're not putting the Catholic Church in Calcutta.
Well,
that shit ain't gonna fly.
They have the Hinduism and Islam. That's why
they warring over there. Yeah,
you have between Pakistan, and then the whole thing about Kashmir,
mm-hmm.
which itself is mostly Muslim.
Yeah,
Muslim country. And then when they basically canceled the contract or the law that allowed Kashmir
to be a
self-determination, now they're trying to basically
repatriate them in. They're not having it,
right? And then, not only are they not having it, but Pakistan has declared that they will defend Kashmir, the Kashmir's right to autonomy.
Yeah.
And them motherfuckers both got nuclear weapons too.
And they both are not friendly with one another. Pakistanis do not like Indians. Yeah, they are. That's what I'm saying. Like that's one of the concerns. At some point, I was going to talk to you if you want to talk about that. But that's one of the concerns for nuclear war, is because you have 2 countries that have nuclear weapons, and they hate each other.
It's Pakistan,
and that's not far from one another, man.
Right,
that's right next door, so it's not even like they really got to. It doesn't have to cross any intercontinental shit.
And we're on Indian side,
mm-hmm.
Russia and everything, whatever. China, they're on Pakistan.
Well, Iran is on their side.
India has cut off Kashmir from any international communication. Basically.
Yeah.
They cut the internet off.
They knocked it. Yeah. So you can't even see what's going on over here right now.
Right.
Which is. If you're an ally, it doesn't make it look good for you. In my opinion, it doesn't make it look good for you. But I mean,
the reason that America, first of all, America is totalitarian, is trying to get more authoritarian. It's an authoritarian regime. So Modi is also authoritarian. But what's getting Modi a pass on the world stage is that he's an economic genius.
Yeah.
And that he's opening up India to several, different nations.
Well,
that's basically an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you got to think they made.
He's working with.
It's
if you're America and you're looking at Modi signing deals with European countries, signing deals with Russia, you want a piece of that pie.
Oh yeah.
And to the point where the Iran and Israel are both working remotely at the same time on the same project.
Well, that's not.
So that's a big deal.
That's a
The
huge.
money is.
The money talks.
Yeah, the money talks. Like,
They
oh,
don't.
that shit
But they don't do that.
Yeah, they are going to be in it. Those two countries wouldn't be in the same room, or they wouldn't engage in the same type of business. There wouldn't be a triangle there.
Unless
That's
it's
the
a
point.
tremendous amount of money.
Right.
And so the United States wants a piece of that pie.
Which they always
and so
do.
that's why not only was Sophie kind of buddy with Modi, not to say that she was like, hate Muslim or anything like that, but because she wanted to help America get a piece of that pie. But so did Barack Obama, who was very, very close to Modi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What was
And
you gonna say, Prince?
actually wrote a piece together.
We recorded right
Yes.
Oh shoot! I thought we were done.
Actually wrote a piece together with Modi. So.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah, let's just get that.
we're about to wrap it up. It's late.
It's actually been post game type shit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, wait a minute, what are we talking about? Yeah, man. Shout out everybody that joined us tonight. Next week we'll get back.
Everyone just still watching. Let's have that leadership talk. And that shit.
Yeah, I gotta watch that episode.
We gotta keep let's have a panel discussion on that because I had a lot I wanted to say. I don't know if you guys still take phone calls yourselves. But it was so much like that could have been unpacked. I think just left on the table. You guys are talking about a very, very serious topic in Black leadership, and I think we can definitely dive deep on that. So let me know.
All right, we out, y'all.
Hey, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, click the notification bell. Y'all know the routine. And thank you for tuning in to another great episode. That's Prince Hayes, friend of the people, D Johnson. We out. We'll see y'all next week.
Speak.